Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
Hell yeah, Borther!
I hate this time of year because the fucking AC unit is so goddamn loud.
Samesies, big sames.
And then I feel like I have to turn my headset up so loud to hear you, and then I feel like that just like naturally makes me scream into the microphone.
Oh, you sound okay. You sound calm, cool, and collected.
Okay. Good. I'm trying really hard. I'm overcompensating. Like, hey, Chris, how you doing? How are you today?
Oh, sultry. I love it. Don't stop. I'm almost there. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. I saw you in real life. I saw you in real time life.
Ah, shit. You're just reminding me that I meant to have a picture taken of us so we could post it on Twitter of us like standing next to each other, but facing opposite directions and not talking. So we could make the joke about how we only talk on pod.
Well, I was going to say, we're going to see The Flash in 2 weeks, but it's just going to be me and you. So we're going to have to ask a stranger to take the picture, which would be weird. And I don't want to do it. I'm
going to do it now that you said it. Or I'll.
You have to refer to me as your husband. Will you take a picture of me and my husband?
Deal. That's easy.
All right.
Everyone knows I'd be into that bear. Episode 102. How you doing? I kind of love that our cold opens are like, I've hit record. Now let's just start talking.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
I just slip into you like a nice warm book, like a hot dog into a bun.
I hated the book one. That one hurt my feelings.
Like a penis into a vagina. Or a butthole, whatever you want.
Vagina. Yeah, whatever. Vagina. Any kind of orifice.
I said bussy first, and I almost said pussy afterwards.
That's the normal one.
That's gross, yeah.
How are you, buddy? How's what's going on with you? What's up with what's going on? I'm pretending I didn't see you 48 hours ago.
Yeah, it was 48 hours ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't slept since, it feels like.
Yeah.
No, nothing. The Reed household's getting shaken up tomorrow for a day or so. Samantha's got a biopsy tomorrow.
Right.
It's like, it's funny because I mean, obviously I don't, maybe if we spoke to hundreds and thousands of people on our podcast, she might be concerned about me talking about her medical situation. Right. But because it's just me, you, Christine, and Scott. Yeah. No, she has to get a biopsy done on her kidneys. They're not sure if there's like something underlying. She's got too much protein coming out, So the biopsy is just to kind of try and get some answers. And that's happening tomorrow. What's funny is her nephrologist, which is a cool doctor title, but it's literally the guy who looks at your kidneys and urine tract and stuff. The procedure is scheduled for like 10 a.m. So she has to be there at like 8. And then they do a bunch of like pre-processing stuff. Procedures at 10. It's only supposed to be like an hour. And she's going to be there all day. And then they call her to prep. They call her like 24 hours in advance to like, okay, this is what to expect, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, we might keep you overnight. And I was like, huh? Because they never once mentioned an overnight thing. And they were like, yeah, the kidneys are very vascular and Dr. blah, blah, blah. I won't say that on air for whatever reason. Arbitrarily, really.
Dr. Nephrologist.
Yeah, Dr. Nephrologist, MD. Sometimes likes to keep patients overnight to look for signs of like internal bleeding, if something. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, that's a very, very sound reason, and I applaud you for making sure that my wife's not bleeding internally after the biopsy. But I'm like, it's done at 10 o'clock. It should be over by 11, and then she gets to stay there for like the entire afternoon. I'm not questioning them if they want to keep her longer, but I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea how long you need to monitor somebody for internal bleeding. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's one of those things that they say, and especially if they hadn't said it to you beforehand, that makes me think. I think like any thing you get done, you could potentially stay overnight. Like it's
That's
like
true.
absolutely anything. So I think that's just like a disclaimer more than anything. I'm going to be shooting myself in the foot, of course, if Sam happens to be the one that's like, nah, we got to keep her.
I'm going to
like,
be shooting you in the foot.
Yeah. Even when I got my hips done, they were like, we might need you for 3 or 4 days. They let me out the next day. I was one night there and the next day they let me out.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They do always do like worst case scenario if you're an asshole.
Right. So she's awake for the biopsy?
Yeah, they do local anesthesia all the way in. So they were like,
sucks full ass. Don't tell her I said that.
They're like, we're going to give you, they're like, we're going to give you maybe I'll take an extra day to process this one, this podcast. They take a needle. They're like, oh, you'll feel the first one. It's a pinch. And then, we'll go in a little further and we'll go in a little further. And I was like, it didn't sound great on paper. So I guess she'll see how it goes. But, we're both excited for her to get some kind of clarity on what's going on.
Absolutely.
And figure out what to do about it. And it's going to be fun. So I'm off work tomorrow, but I'm basically just like, we're all getting in the car in the morning, taking Grace into school, dropping her off at the hospital, and me and Archer are coming home. And it's just me and the boy for the day. And then, if they keep her overnight, all day and all night, just me and this little baby boy. So I'll probably be very tired Wednesday. And
so I say that, and I'm not just reeling this back because of your reaction, but the more I think about it, I really do feel like women tend to deal with internal pressure and pain much better than men do. So she'll probably take it like a champ now that I'm thinking about it. The only like internal biopsy I ever had, I'm sorry, it wasn't a biopsy, but it's done in the same way, like a ultrasound guided catheter was put through my liver to get a fluid collection that happened after I got my gallbladder out.
Oh, and that whole nightmare.
I was screaming at the top of my lungs, but I'm a huge bitch. So, and 2 totally different organs. Good luck, Sam. Anyway, sorry I brought all that up. Let's move on.
She doesn't listen anyway. She hears me say off-color shit from downstairs often enough that
she just hears the F word.
Yeah. I'm sure Grayson's going to come up and say hi at some point tonight because his new philosophy in life is saying goodnight to Uncle Derek.
But then when I saw him in person, he was like, stay the fuck away from me.
No, I saw you pick him up.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Okay. I was like, not this time. That one time, like the first time we brought him over, he was like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
I'm offended on your behalf. Anyway, let's get moving. So episode 102. I would like to remind you fine fellows and ladies that you can find us on TikTok and Twitter and Facebook at The Cynical Nerd. You can email us at questions@thecynicalnerd. You can tweet at us if you want, because God knows we'd love to see it.
We'd love to see it. You love to see it.
You love to see it. You're going to love the way you look. You're going to love the way we react to you, which is probably going to be negative. Because you're probably dumb. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah, it's the most likely scenario.
I've met way more dumb people in my life than I have smart people. So just roll the dice. You're probably one of them, Okay, we're going to get moving after I insulted everybody listening. We have, we have 3 MTs. I love that rhymes today. The John Wick 4, which we were going to cover last week, ran out of time. Sisu, which was it's a movie. We'll talk about it. And this guy finally saw Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and we're going to talk about that too.
Did you already see that prior to, you already watched that? Okay.
Yeah. So I forget exactly the episode, but I remember telling you I had watched it, and we talked about it a little bit when we discussed Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And that was actually my next point, because I was going to go, I have a disclaimer. In that episode, I believe I said I liked Fury of the Gods more than Quantumania. Mm-hmm. And I'm not quite sure that that's true. I think I might have just been being hyperbolic, being over exaggerating. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I'm gonna kind of rediscover my feelings about that movie as we discuss it, which sounds like a really bitch way to say I could go either way. And guess what? It kind of is, because Derek might say something that makes me change my mind. That's why we talk about stuff.
So we say things to one another.
The only game he didn't make me change my mind about was Death Stranding, and he
hurts
hates
my feelings
me for
every
it.
time. I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on.
Let's move on. First piece of news. Guess what, guys? Nintendo doesn't like emulators. They're now attacking emulators on Steam. They're asking Valve to remove them to kick GameCube and Wii emulators off Steam. Says it's protecting its creativity and work. Obviously, it's a big steamy pile of poo-poo. They're specifically talking about the emulator Dolphin, which has been around for a very long time. Yeah. It's a popular emulator.
It's a very good emulator.
GameCube and Wii. And they received a cease and desist from Nintendo. The company behind Mario and Zelda accuses the emulator of illegally circumventing its protections, and they say they're merely protecting the hard work and creativity of video game engineers and developers for systems that haven't been available for purchase for 20 years.
It's absurd. I mean, how many different times can you say that it's just like if you made your games more accessible, then people would buy them? And so when people make them accessible for free, it's like it's kind of on you. Like I wouldn't even be as mad if they came up with an alternative, like, oh, we're taking Dolphin down, but this showed us that maybe we should invest some of our gross profits into making these games playable. But no, that's never what's going to happen. Just more Nintendo is a pile of shit news. And I have to piggyback on this about something. I have a confession to make.
Piggy on me.
You already know it. I did cave and I bought Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't want to eat up too much time on this, but I just want to warn anyone listening. The reason I'm not making any excuses here, Veronica like offered to buy it for me, and I'm not blaming it on her. I wanted to get it. I just wanted to like.
I'll blame her. It's your fault, Ron.
We, like I said on a previous episode, we played Breath of the Wild together. Like in the first year we were together, we had a great time with it. And so like one night she's like, you know what? I just got paid. Like, do you just want me to get it? And I went, fuck it. Yeah. The game runs like fucking shit on Switch. It really looks and plays just awful.
Like,
I mean, like, don't spend the $70 on this game. Don't do what I did. Don't go against
70 too. I keep forgetting it's 70.
Yeah.
That hurts even more.
No, I really like. I'm full of self-hatred. The thing is, like, now I think it's legal for me to emulate it, which I have been, and it runs so much better. It's unbelievable. The difference, not just in how it looks and how it plays. The frame rates are better. The particle effects are better. It's crisper, cleaner, everything you could possibly, and that's before putting any mods on, anything like that. It just looks fucking good. Do not spend money on this game if you have even a decent PC. Just do the yield C's on that one. Okay, don't spend the money on it, please. I'm begging you.
Yeah,
I'm your guinea pig. I made the mistake so that you don't have to. I'm not endorsing piracy.
No.
That's for my lawyer later. Just know I'm officially not endorsing piracy.
No, we think that you should go pay for the product, and then you should be able to play it however you like.
And then burn it, and then play it however you want. Exactly.
Because you fucking bought it. It's just like how people would copy DVDs when they bought them from the store, copy them to a repository. Because much like, this is a little different because of downloadable games, but much like how those old game cartridges will eventually wear out and die, just like VCR tapes will, just like the DVDs the games used to come on will eventually just stop reading and writing. It should be totally up to you if you want to preserve that game that you have. I just personally, I don't buy anything physically anymore, specifically because I lose, scratch, misplace, whatever you want to call it.
Clumsy little
games.
bitch.
I was so bad at it when I was younger. Jesus,
You've always got butter on your fingers. Where's all the butter coming from? Everything you touch has got butter on it. Wash your hands.
A finger on my butterfinger. Yeah, I don't know, something Butterfinger related for the episode thumbnail. Anyway, but so
just your finger coming out of a Butterfinger wrapper.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I mean, look, this is nothing new. I feel like we've had a Nintendo's going after somebody article in the podcast the last like 4 episodes in a row. I'm not even kidding. I feel like we have, and I just, I know we're not going to win the battle, but look, Nintendo, you suck. So knock it the fuck off, you greedy bitches. $70, by the way, for a game that's ostensibly on last gen still. Shame on you. That's greedy. That's greedy bitch shit. That's what that is.
And you know what? I read somewhere another thing that sort of like leaned me towards it, which this is absurd, and it really just says more about the state of games development in general, like AAA games development, is that someone had made this point where they said, well, you can shit on Nintendo, but they release the game like in its intended form, which is true. Like, it's not riddled with bugs like most other games are. There's like here and there shit, but nothing game breaking. And that made me go like, oh yeah, good on them. And I'm like, hang on, shouldn't you expect that of every fucking company that's making a game for it to release in its fullest state? Like, I mean, I can't really like pat them on the back for it. I mean, I guess like in light of all the other studios that this year have released unfinished games, but still, it loops right back around to there's no reason, even if it's released in its intended state. Like you said, it's at least a generation behind, maybe even 2. And there's just no excuse to charge $70 for it. There's no excuse to pay $70 for it. This is not me making any excuses. I am a cuck, and I'm asking you to not follow me down this road of cuckoldry and just
Cuckoldry.
be yourself and be free.
I wish there was some way to have like, oh god, like the yellow brick road, but make it some reference to cuck. Like I could just make
sitting in chairs, straight backed and nervous.
I could just make the yellow brick road, make it a Butterfinger road. Because that makes no sense, but like, fuck it. We're riffing and jiving.
Cool. Yeah, why not?
I'm gonna write it down. Okay, so moving on. This is just another thing in the video game industry that I thought was interesting, and hopefully, you do too. Butterfinger yellow brick road.
I love the way you like summarize things to like remind yourself later.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So this is they announced this tech. This was published on May 29th. May 28th, they had a there's a show. What the fuck is it called? There's a show. There's the thing. I'm
exhibition
bombing so horribly. I thought the name of the place they spoke was on the beginning of the article, and it's not. But that's okay. Who gives a shit? Because it's really about the content of what they were talking about. And they were showcasing AI and its use in video games and how they're going to use it moving forward. And that's nothing new. AI has been used to generate in-game assets, things that would normally be considered just overly tedious, things that are time-consuming, but not overly difficult. Things like making shoes in a sweatshop, except for we're not using kids, we're using AI. And you laugh, but it's more or less true.
Digital sweatshop.
But the shocking thing here is this is a program called ACE, and it's something they can use AI to generate NPC dialogue and quest text in games. They're going to be able to generate AI avatars now with voiced facial expressions and lip syncing to match. It's a suite of real-time solutions. They have a video on this article that I put in of it in action, and the conference was at Computex. That's the one I couldn't find, but I went and found it. So this is crazy. It's like an AI model / dialogue generator that's basically using like a chat GPT like function on the background to generate dialogue. And that's an insane thing to the world of video game development that I feel like is a double-edged sword. And here's my point. Everyone that I'm seeing is sounding like kind of horrified about it. They're like, oh, it's coming for your video game dev jobs. And that's probably true. We've discussed AI before and its impact on the art industry and how like, yeah, it probably will play a role, but it's not going to replace artists. It will probably make some people who do lower hanging fruit jobs have to retrain or get trained higher on something else or move on to a different field. I mean, that's the reality of it. But here's what I mean with double-edged sword. I'm sorry for rambling, but the first is obviously it's going to probably take away tasks from humans. That's inevitable. On the other hand, from what we've seen year over year, they continue to talk about the ballooning costs of game development and all these man hours and how these budgets have ballooned to Hollywood, hundreds of millions of dollars for these blockbuster titles. And if this AI can be used to lower some of that, to make game development not so astronomically expensive anymore, to maybe even make it so that games don't continue to rise beyond the $70 target they're now at right now, because God knows they'd never put them back down. Then, there's going to be some serious upside for the consumer at the end of the day, as long as the consumer. I feel like the consumer in video games has a much louder voice than in other markets where it's corporate to consumer, because if we don't like something, they get publicly roasted.
Yeah.
So, I feel like it's just going to sort itself out. I feel like it's the kind of thing where they're going to find a way to integrate it. It's probably going to take some jobs. I think overall, I kind of feel like it's a net positive.
For all of time, the more things become automated, in that time that automation happens, people lose jobs. And it's one of those things that's like, it's been for literally thousands of years a question of ethics, because if something becomes more easily to produce and thus more easy to get to people, does that really outweigh the benefit or rather the loss of, people losing jobs? And the answer is frankly that there's no answer. In my opinion, of course. It's weird to me to think about this kind of thing, but I think that the fact of the matter is, like, it's happening. Like, it's like when they first started putting what are they called, plows behind horses. It's like it happens. Like there's not, people aren't going to not do it. You just have to find a way around it. And so like there was way back when that we covered it on the show, there was a AI animated thing, rock, paper, scissors, something or other. And it looked hideous. And I may have already said this, which if I have on the show, if I have, then just stop me and I'll summarize. But Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps made this really great post, and he's anti-AI, where he had basically, like, what people are doing is they're saying like, oh, it looks like shit, and more it looks, you can tell. And yeah, sure, you can tell. But if you look at AI art now as opposed to where it was 2 years ago, there's an exponential difference. Right. And so like what he was saying was like, look, you cannot like it because it wasn't made by a human. You cannot like it because it's unethical, because it's taking away people's jobs and likely in the future will take away even more jobs. But you can't say it doesn't look good. Like, don't lie. Just accept that it is what it is. It's the new technology, and maybe you don't like it, but don't bullshit. Like it's an effective use of technology, whether you like it or not. And exactly, like sometimes things just happen and you just sort of have to react to it. That's easy for me to say because I'm not a game developer. So like I'm not on the chopping block here. And like one day maybe whatever industry I'm in will be on the chopping block, and then I'll be singing a different tune. And I'm not like on the other side. I'm not saying like deal with it, this is how it is, but it's just one of those issues that for all of time there's always some new breakthrough, and then people lose jobs because it gets easier to do. It's more automated. And I don't know. There is something bizarre to me about like art and things like generated voices and lines of dialogue just being done by a computer. Like there's something weird about that. But I've always tried to not be like a Luddite. Like I don't want to be like someone who's afraid of technology. I always want to learn more about it and try to embrace it whenever I can. But I don't know. So I'm kind of talking in circles and not really making a point. But I think that's sort of the point of this whole thing. Is like you just try to think of it from both sides before you just go totally to one extreme or totally to the other extreme. I guess we'll just see what happens, but it's not going anywhere. I
actually love that you use the term Luddite. Do you know where that comes from?
You know what I do? I took a technological ethics course like years ago, and like I kind of do. I feel like you do better than I do. So
I only do because I looked it up. But so this article, not pat myself on the ass here, but reading further down sort of reiterates some of the points that I just made. They said, for some game studios, this is incredible news. The potential for such technology is indescribable. Games that are currently only achievable by teams of hundreds of people could become realistically achievable by teams of tens, even individuals. We as players will soon be playing games where we can genuinely role play, talk directly to in-game characters who will react to us in real time to what we're saying, as opposed to some generic copy pasta that everybody gets, and it's made generic enough that it'll apply to any situation. And then I said, but this is my double-edged sword. When it comes to specialist jobs in the industry, it could be carnage, and this will definitely happen to some extent. And then they reference the textile equipment, the automated textile machines that replaced skilled laborers when the machines became available. And that group of people was the Luddites.
And they burned those machines down.
Yeah, they're members of a 19th century movement of English textile workers, which opposed the use of the cost-saving machinery. What actually happened was, yes, lots of skilled laborers lost their jobs, but then they were retrained because people had to run those machines. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, people had to be so goddamn good with those machines that they could fix an issue with like cloth jamming or something without the machine skipping a beat, because if they had to shut it down, it would cost way more fucking money. And they ended up, I think it was like they ended up getting paid more because of how, so like it all ends up, I'm not saying it's not potentially a bad thing in the short term for people's jobs. We're also not a political podcast, so I'm not going to waste any more time on this. I think it's an awesome tool. There's been a lot of cool AI applications lately. There's been a couple scary ones.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I feel like if wielded correctly, it could be a game changer for a lot of industries. And that's all I got to say in Chris's Corner. Anyway. Look,
now we need a segment called Chris's Corner, whoosh, with like a logo. That
I like the sound of look, I put this next article in here just to talk shit on Al Pacino. I don't want to do it. Listen, he's gross. He's dating someone who's like in her 20s. He's 80 fucking 2. and they're expecting a baby. That's gross to me. Like,
yeah, and irresponsible. You're not going to be around for that kid's 10th birthday.
And just so I don't mislead you, I said 20s. She's 29. She's right on the verge, but still 29 and 82. That's gross. There's a whole ass me in between when she was born.
Yeah, more than.
Yeah, more than a whole ass me. That's crazy. Almost 2 me's, right? Because it's like 30 to 80. Oh, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're grody, my guy.
Robert De Niro had a kid with not quite so young, but still young enough. She's like late 30s, I think. He just had a kid as well.
Pacino's oldest kid right now is 33. And
He
that
didn't have a kid who's in his 50s. Shit.
that kid is about to have a newborn sibling by someone who's younger than her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's weird.
That's what makes it great. That's what I think I was trying to hammer home here was like, the chick he's dating is younger than his oldest daughter, which is...
Yeah. The most interesting thing that you had said was that she has done this in the past. Like, he's not the first old guy she's dated, and she has money. So it's not just about money. She just likes old dick. It has to be what it is.
She likes to... She likes getting dusted. He sprayed a fine coat of dust on her, made a baby come out. It's baby powder at that point, right? That's what happens, not baby gravy. Come on, baby, hit him with the powder. Listen, so that was a reference to How High, by the way. Hit him with the powder. Wow. It's been a Red Man and Method Man, so fantastic film. So it's just gross. It's gross and icky. And yeah, I did forget the most important part, which is that she just seems like she's a grandpa chaser.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're out there, but I feel like it's rare to get one that's like attractive and young and like has her. She comes from a rich family. Like there's no reason to be chasing this.
She just likes the wrinkly Digginsies. What, a lot of give on those, I hear. A lot of slack.
She likes to wrap the testicles around her hand a couple times, Really, it's like a hand warmer, but the best kind. All right, let's move on. Hey, Netflix really, so I only put this up here for literally one reason, and that's to throw some shade at it. Mm-hmm. There was a time, and I can't remember the exact news, so I'm sorry for being inaccurate, where you had pointed out, a studio had announced they were greenlighting a sequel to something, and you said, and they did it before the release, and it was something that we were both sure was not going to do great.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying, like, I think they're doing this to project like we're confident
like fake confidence,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I feel like that's a case of this.
Yeah.
Everyone I've met has universally poo-pooed the notion of replacing Henry Cavill with Liam Hemsworth, and Liam Hemsworth is a handsome guy, but he looks nothing like Geralt. Yeah. And he's nowhere near the size of Henry Cavill.
No.
And we at The Cynical Nerd remember a time when people were shitting on pictures of Cavill in the wig before the show came out. And to that, I would say, shut up. I'm a hypocrite, and you can deal with it. And I love baby boy Henry Cavill, and he's a stud muffin. But for them to announce it, so the major shakeup, the last season of Witcher with Henry Cavill comes out in a couple of months. I forget the exact date. We just got the date recently, actually. I think we talked about it last episode. And season 4 is going to start with Hemsworth. No one even knows how he's going to be received, and they're announcing a season 5 has been confirmed.
Yeah.
And to me,
it was the Halo
screams.
show. I just remembered it was Halo got greenlit for season 2 before season 1.
Yeah, guess what? It's not coming out. There's not going to be a Halo season 2. This is not going to happen. That movie was poo poo la la. Master Cheeks. Never forget. Never forget.
He does clap cheeks. He does get to do it in that show. So I hear. I only watched the first 2. That's all I needed to know.
The only way this is possible is if they somehow worked out a deal where Netflix has already agreed to spend the money for seasons 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, they might take backsies. They might take backsies.
Yeah.
If season,
I don't want it to suck, but I mean the trajectory of the show isn't great, and you're taking away the best part of it. I mean, I don't know. I want to see the lesser Hemsworth.
Oh, that was one of our podcast titles. The lesser Hemsworth.
That's a callback. I want to see him. I want to see him. I want to be shocked. I want to be surprised. I just don't think I will be.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think I will be. Okay, moving on. Deadpool 3 We know they're coming. We know he's coming back. We know
He's
Hugh
coming.
Jackman will be returning to the role of Wolverine that he made famous, the role of Logan, if you will. Apparently, more than just Hugh Jackman will be returning from the original X-Men. This is a rumor, but this is from somebody who's usually got the goods on that kind of stuff. They're saying Halle Berry's Storm, Famke Janssen's Jean Grey, and James Marsden's Cyclops. Arguably, I love James Marsden. Seems like a total sweetheart, but he's garbage as Cyclops. I'm so sorry, my guy. You are not cut out for Cyclops.
Yeah, I agree with that, but like, there's like a nostalgia force behind that I'm like, I would love to see him in that role again.
Yeah, what was at the end of Days of Future Past? There's a shot where they fix everything when he's there, and I went, "Hey, it's him."
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that is one of my favorite fucking superhero movies of all time. Oh. I was like completely awed by Days of Future Past.
I thought it was very, very well done. Movie. And then they went and ruined it by making Apocalypse, which is just god awful. Oh God,
I was so hyped for Apocalypse on account of Days of Future Past, and then
Oscar Isaac. But you know, you dress him up like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie, and that's how you stomp that one into the dirt. Make sure it's not breathing.
Dude, now I'm thinking of Blink throwing our portals around. God damn, that movie was so good.
Days of Future Past was like the weird, it was like it had no right to come out and be so awesome. And it was very well, it was such a good way to meld the old cast and the new cast.
Yeah.
And I love, what's his name that plays Professor X in the newer movies.
Dude, James McAvoy.
McAvoy. McAvoy's incredible as an actor. And
I'm watching that movie now, man. Fuck, that's such a good movie.
I got you.
How about when? Let me just hit you with one more, and then I know we got stuff to talk about. How about when Blink throws the portal in one spot, and then she throws another one like way up, and why can't I think of his name? Colossus like turns into Diamond and jumps through, and then just like cannonballs the one Sentinel. Oh my God, that movie was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Fucking Magneto getting all the scrap metal and like creating a fucking like wall to protect Professor X. Oh my God, that movie was so incredible. It is. I'm like hyped up just thinking about it right now.
It is super fucking good. So alongside those three returning, and listen, that could just be for like that could be like when they grab Logan out of that reality or something, they show those guys for a minute. Like this isn't confirmation they're going to be part of the story, really, just that they might show up. They're also saying the movie will feature a returning X-Men villain and a returning MCU villain, that they didn't reveal the identities of any two antagonists. This is incredibly believable for me for a couple of reasons. This is bringing Deadpool into the Marvel cinematic universe, which means they would want to not only remind you of the universe Logan is coming from, but also go, hey, look, but an MCU guys, just to make sure you're not confused. It's in the MCU. Apparently the Marvel villain is someone you would never expect. I don't know what that means. It probably means it's one of the bad throwaway forgettable ones.
Yeah.
Because anyone I would expect probably is not making a return. But anyway, cool. Sure. If that's true, which it sounds plausible enough, then fun. I mean, really the big concern with Deadpool 3, and I think you share this, is that we're worried that they might tie the noose too tightly around the profanity. And that's kind of like, let's be real, the Deadpool 1 and 2 movies, the script is not like the best script I've ever read, but they're pretty funny. And that kind of carries the weight of those films.
You know what's concerning is that I guess with the writer's strike, a lot of Ryan Reynolds' lines were improvised in 1 and 2. And since the script is locked in on account of the writer's strike, he is not allowed to improvise. He has to stick to the script.
I saw that,
which is a little discouraging, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Moving on.
That's such a weird, like, I don't understand that. That's so like, why? I don't know. I guess it's a contracting thing or something. I have no idea.
Yeah. I actually don't know either. I don't know if it's because like, if they were to riff like enough of the film, they would need to get a writer's credit. And because they're on strike, I really don't understand.
What is he, a writer? You know what I mean? Like if you wrote the movie and you're on strike and I'm adding to the movie and I'm not on strike, it's like, I don't know. Who fucking knows? Doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Yeah, but I want to know the answer.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. It's like, if you're the one on strike, like, isn't your contract kind of, I mean, not voided, but why would you have to stick to it? I don't get it.
That is not considered. Yeah, okay. Nothing I'm reading is clarifying it quickly enough, so we'll move on. Anyway, do you watch the Insidious movies? Because I don't.
No, I think we watched one on the podcast like 2 years ago. Yeah, Big time we did. I'm almost certain because it's pretty much the only reason I would watch one. I watched the first one when it came out.
I'm like a cat.
It was very very nimble of you.
Meow. I don't know if I got it. I don't think I did. It was too tiny. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I was really just going to read this headline because I was going to make a comment about how the mighty have fallen, but it feels like kicking somebody while they're down, you know? I'll read the headline and then you can infer whatever mean shit I was going to say. The Insidious universe expands with new spin-off film starring Mandy Moore and Kumail Nanjiani. I like Kumail Nanjiani. I think he's a cool dude. He's very funny. Mandy Moore, I know, was in that super serious show where everyone fell in love with the dad who died in the fire. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, This Is Us. I never watched it.
Me either. Sam told me how he died or something about the crock pot got left on or some shit.
Oh shit, my crock pot's
I guess
on
the
right
whole
now.
show was about like how he died because they never told you.
Right, and then it was the crock pot. It's like,
yeah, and it's like the worst version of Clue ever. It was the crock pot in the kitchen with the electrical spark. Like what? Oh man, maybe that's I'll put the game of Clue up as the thumbnail with the crock pot on there. I like these. I wish someone could see my stream of consciousness notepad that I have up while we record. It's just gibberish. Anyway, I don't give a shit about it. I watched one Insidious movie and I thought it was stupid and I never watched any more after that. So that's it. Moving on. Guess what? Thought you could get rid of Ezra Miller? Well, you can't. The Flash director says Ezra Miller would not be recast in a possible sequel. They're on the press tour. Obviously, Ezra's keeping a very low profile. He's going to be at the premiere apparently, but will not be like doing interviews. He's just going to be there. He says it's because he wants it to speak for itself. And he also doesn't want the exchange to be transactional, aka he knows people want to ask him about his personal life and he wants it to be about the film. That's A, plausible, also B, very, very political. Obviously, Warner Brothers said, you're not doing that. You're on thin ice.
Yeah.
So he's going to be there, but Annie Muschietti, Michael Keaton's been out there talking to people. Sasha Calle's been out there talking to people. And people asked him about a potential sequel. He says, well, if he actually threw, I wouldn't say direct shade because it's not like he said Grant Gustin sucks balls or, you know, but he did say, I don't think there's anyone that can play that character as well as they did. The other depictions of the character are great, but this particular vision of the character, they just excelled in doing it. And as you said, the two berries, it feels like a character that was made for them. I would, obviously we don't know how Ezra's going to be in this, but I really kind of fell in love with the way he treated Flash in Justice League. I feel like he's just got this jittery energy that I feel lends itself to Flash very well. I'm really looking forward to this movie. We're coming in on a week and a half, I think, from now. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to go. Like at least we got like 12 days, maybe, I think the 12 days of Christmas, until I get to see Derek's, stuff. I don't know. I'm just gonna
just the neck. That's all you get this time.
Just the neck. I just want to see the middle. I don't want to see the head and I don't want to see the base. I just want to see the middle of the shaft and nothing else.
The spine. Just the abdomen of my cock.
I don't like any of that. Just the meat, not the potatoes.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's like, this is kind of, I don't know if it's setting a bad precedent. And of course, we're going to be talking about Quantumania earlier, and this kind of relates directly to it. But it's like, you know, I feel like everybody knew they were never going to scrap a completed movie after they already did that with the Batman movie, or Batwoman movie, rather. But it seems like, you know, they sort of put Ezra in a box and were like, don't come out until the movie comes out.
And it worked.
People kind of, I didn't forgive him, but they forgot about it. And so now I'm like, with everything, with, you know, all the planning of phase whatever the fuck it is in the MCU now with Quantumania, Jonathan Majors, it's like, are they using that as a diagram? Are they like, hey, stay in your apartment and don't come out until some of this shit blows over?
Otherwise we'll have someone murder you.
Yeah, right. Like, but really though, I mean, it's like, I think a company like Disney, who's more sort of on the frontier of like social rights issues than like, you know, Disney, or than like DCU, sort of would be, there's kind of a bigger thumb that they'd be pressed under for an issue like this. So I'm wondering, like, not that I'm saying he should have been recast or whatever, but it's like, is this just going to set a bad precedent for people publicly beating their girlfriends and fans in the future? I don't know, but I'm still really excited to see the movie. So
yeah, I would be lying if I told you that I was not extremely excited, to the point where I've had to like pull back from looking at some subreddits that I usually look at, because they're just releasing clips left, right, and center now. They released another one with like Keaton in it, and where he has like the long hair, and I was like, let me click it, and then I went, you know what? Let me just save it. Like,
yeah,
I know he's in it. I've heard lots of great things about it. I can't wait to see it. Let's just well, we can save some surprises for the movie.
Yeah, you're really edging yourself for this one.
Oh, that's all I know. It's just the edge. Anyway, moving on. We got 2 trailers to talk about. One of these we've already discussed, and that is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem film. They released another trailer for it, which feels close to the last one. I feel like we just talked about this not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
This comes out August 2nd, which I'm sure I said last time, but it's surprising all over again that it's so close. I mean, there's not, it's got a crazy voice cast. There's everybody and their mother is in this film. Jackie Chan is Splinter. Ice Cube is in it. Seth Rogen, John Cena, Paul Rudd, Post Malone, Hannibal Buress, Maya Rudolph, Giancarlo Esposito, for God's sake. He's fucking Baxter Stockman, which is incredible. The animation looks charming. Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to, we've said everything that I would rehash this time, which is just that I really enjoy the dynamic of the Turtles, and it looks fun. And I really wish they could get a live action version to be as good as some of the animated stuff they've done recently. That's about it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen either of these trailers, just go watch them. They're very charming. Seth Rogen is unbearable, but he does get his hands in some really good projects, and I think that this is another one of them.
Yeah.
Like you said, the voice acting ensemble is just like insane. I just wanted to mention the joke at the end where Raph is like, I dream about fighting every night. And you're like, you have serious rage issues. He's like, it's not an issue. It was just, I like literally laughed out loud at that. I don't know. There's just this good, almost like the feel that Goonies gave you, and that like sort of teenage, I don't know. I think I compared something else we watched recently to that. But anyway, I'm reusing it. I'm wearing the t-shirt. So, there's my inspiration right there. Go watch the trailer, both of them. Yeah.
There's a part in this trailer where the music starts to kick in, and Jackie Chan as Splinter is talking to them, and he's like, what does he say? He's like, Michelangelo, you have heart.
Mm-hmm.
Michelangelo, you have heart. Donatello, you have wisdom. Raphael, you have bravery. And Leonardo, honor. And I don't know. I'm like, dude, I've never been like a crazy diehard Turtles fan, but it got me. I was like, oh my God.
That was that was like a goosebump raising. Yeah.
Yeah. A goosebumpy. A goosebump in 2 months. It's 2 months away. Get ready. Can't wait. I've been trying. I'm like, man, we've only like gone to see like DC films in theaters recently. That's not true.
You weren't a big Turtles fan when you were a kid? Hey, that actually kind of blows me away.
I was when I was a kid, but I meant like anymore. Maybe I guess that explains it. And yes, I was a monster Turtles fan. I had the turtle van with a pizza shooter.
Yes, dude, me too. Yeah, that thing was the shit. You were the coolest person in class when you had that. Oh yeah,
I used to have so many. Or the most annoying if you use it to shoot your friends.
Right.
Which I may not admit to ever doing. Okay, moving on. One more trailer. Have you?
No. I'm sorry, we're not moving on. Who's your favorite turtle?
You know,
I feel like I should know this because we play. Donatello's your favorite.
Yeah.
Always more of a Mikey guy. I was a Raph guy, but then I grew up, so now I'm a Mikey guy.
I feel like that's accurate.
Yeah.
And I was going to say Leonardo, and now it's Donatello, and I think kind of the same. I've always been the guy who like tries to play the most goody two shoes protagonist or in any video game for like no reason. Like I can already just be a good guy in real life. I don't need to do it in a video game. But I always feel the urge to do it. I'm like, I'll be the best of the Paragon that I can. And I have like I've tried to go, I'm gonna be renegade this time, like in Mass Effect, and I feel too mean. I can't do this to people, even if they're not real. It's not me. I'm not being honest with myself. And I always just, I always love Leo. He's the leader. He's the guy who's like, he's kind of the dad of the group, but like I kind of am to an extent at like my job and stuff. Like I'm always the guy going, come on, guys.
Funny enough, I feel like the new iterations of TMNT, which I don't like as much as the older shit. Of course, it's just literally generational bias is all it is. I feel like I always hated Leo as a kid because of what you're saying. He was like kind of the plainest out of all of them. I feel like the recent iterations of the Turtles have like done better shit with him. He's a more interesting character. He's not just like, let's try to do our best at all times. He's just like actually has some kind of character to him. Yeah. No, I can't wait to see this movie. And I think that you were about to say something like we only ever go see superhero movies, but maybe we should see this. And I agree because I really like the animation of this movie. And it feels like seeing it in theaters would sort of is the ideal way
and
for
you know
viewership.
What else helped to spur that? And yeah, that was what I was getting at. What helped to spur that is Across the Spider-Verse is out in theaters right now. And I was like, damn, like
shit, it is. Yeah.
I loved the first one and would 1000% see the second one in theaters. But because we're going to see Flash in like a week and a half, there's only so many movie dates that we can schedule so close together before the ladies get jealous. So
right.
We'll have to space them out. But I can't wait to see Across the Spider-Verse. And moving on. Last trailer. Do you watch Black Mirror? Have you seen any of them?
All of it. Love it. All of it. Mm-hmm.
I've only seen the first season, so I've heard that like the latest one before this trailer was Poo Poo Lala. I don't know if it's true.
Not totally, but yeah, kind of underwhelming. There was one episode that was very good. I won't tell you which, so you have to watch all of it and waste your time.
Wow, look at this. That's toxic, bro.
So you only watched the first trailer since it came to Netflix, or like the first season, even when it was on in the UK?
Netflix.
Okay.
I didn't even know there was a difference. You just deep dived on me.
Well, they're all on Netflix now, so I have a feeling you watch it. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, season 6, the official trailer came out. This bad motherfucker is coming out June 15th, so it's actually only 10 days away. And it's another, anthology series. All the episodes cover. It's the same as before. You should have heard of Black Mirror. It was kind of a fucking cultural thing there for a little bit. And it kind of just hit on the zeitgeist, and I feel like it's more topical now than ever before. Yeah. These are kind of like dystopian future scenarios, fantastical ways in which technology invades people's lives or terrorizes them. And I think every single one of the shots in this trailer looked interesting to me. Yeah. Not shots. Every single one of these stories in this trailer looked interesting to me. Like everything they showed, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I'm looking forward to it. It looks really good.
Me too. Can I give you 3 episodes that I think you should watch of Black Mirror? Sure. San Junipero. I'll send these to you. I just want our viewers to hear which ones are my favorite. San Junipero. Okay. Nosedive. And then I don't know the name of the episode, but it's from that. I'll tell you what the good episode was. It has your boy Anthony Mackie, the guy who plays.
Oh, yeah.
That one, whichever one he's in, very good episode. That's my homework for you. Now I'm demanding shit of you. That's all 3 of them. Check those out. But this trailer looks good. I agree. I don't know what else to say about it. I think that Black Mirror has a cool. It's kind of like modern day Twilight Zone, which is which has, it's all, obviously technology based. If for some reason you've been living underneath a rock and haven't heard of it, I highly recommend the show. It's very good. Some of them are a little like it kind of sucks its own dick, but for the most part, it's a pretty good show.
I'm also a huge fan of like space shit, anything to do with it, whether it be historically accurate, horror, what have you. And there's a cool one in here that has Aaron Paul and Josh Hartnett. And they're in a space station, and I don't know what's going on, but they're implying that Josh Hartnett is close to some kind of like schizophrenic or mental breakdown. And Aaron Paul says, like, I think you need a break. And he lays down and touches some device and like wakes up. It looks like on Earth in a bed. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? And that kind of stuff.
4 episodes. Cool. It's called the SS something. It has the dude who played not Jesse, the dude who played the redheaded dude from Breaking Bad. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it.
Yeah. I got you. Okay.
It's another good one. That's a spacey one for you.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's funny, like Aaron Paul and Josh Hartnett being in the same episode. It's like those are 2 actors that you're like had a great prime, and then they just sort of went nowhere. It's like, they brought them both and put them in the same episode. Tight. All right.
It's good to see you. Nice to know you're both breathing still.
Yeah. Aaron Paul, what happened to that hairline?
more like Heron Paul. Am I right? No, it doesn't make any sense. That's so stupid.
That sucks so bad that it went around to being good, though. It's like,
all right, main topics. Let's dive on in. I want to do John Wick 4 last because I want to guarantee that I'm ending on a good note. Okay. Sorry, spoiler alert. I really liked John Wick 4.
All right, let's do Sisu first. Let's just knock that daddy out of the way.
Listen, I don't know how you felt about this film. I definitely would not say that I felt like I wasted my time, but I didn't like it, and I'm hard. Here's the thing: the reason we even watched this movie is because we kept. I don't know about you, but I kept seeing things about it. I saw it got really good reviews, and I kept seeing it pop up in feeds and on the Plex, and I don't. It had this quality. So sorry, let's just set the stage here. Sisu was a 2022 historical action film. It's about a Finnish commando who's trying to retire basically and be a gold prospector. He's the kind of guy who's like super duper highly, let's just call him the John Wick of the Finnish army. And he's currently trying to leave the country. I guess the setup is you've got people from the Soviet Union and the Germans. This is World War II. Finland lost. It's called the Continuation War. I know nothing of this because I'm American and ignorant to everyone else's history. The Soviet Union agreed to end hostilities if all German soldiers are expelled from Finland. It causes the German forces to retaliate against the Finns, leading to what's called the Lapland War. So this gentleman is just trying to do a gold thing. He comes across a vein of gold, mines it all out. It's very clear that he's a rough and tumble son of a bitch. He's trying to just cart this to a town that he can sell it at. And in the process, just runs afoul of some Germans and who just can't let it go. They want to. He finds some Germans who are abusing women, and he finds some Germans who are just trying to steal his shit and kill him. And he deals with all of them in very gruesome fashion. It felt like the director said that First Blood was inspiration for this from Rambo First Blood. And I honestly could kind of feel that. I got this almost like cheesy 80s action film turned up to like 12 from it the whole time. Mm-hmm. There's some cool stuff in this movie, but there's also some batshit crazy, unbelievable shit in it. Like this guy's just a boogeyman. He can't die. They literally hang him from a pole and he's alive. And I don't know. There's some cool stuff in this film. I will not say it's not worth watching. There's some cool shit, some cool action scenes. I expected to really love this film. I don't know why. I always liked war films, and I thought like this is also revenge porn on the Germans, which is fucking just great. Let's be honest. We all like watching Germans in the World War II era get murdered, right? Sorry, Germans. Not modern day.
Yeah.
World War II era.
Well, I'm sure there's some shitty Germans. There's got to be a few.
Of course there are. There's a bunch of assholes, minimum. But I don't think they're out here, raping caravans full of women.
Right.
And so the girls getting their revenge was fantastic. But some of the shit with him, I didn't care very much about. I was like, this feels silly. All
I could think throughout this whole movie, and I'm not making a joke. This is genuinely what I was thinking is if I saw this movie when I was 17 years old, I would think it's the best movie that was ever made. Oh. And that's like both a compliment to it and an insult to it.
Yeah.
Like there's just like, it does this thing where it's like, it's an action movie. It's a gruesome action movie, but it doesn't really do it in the most typical way. I can always appreciate when like a movie tries to go about things in sort of like a non-traditional way. And there was sort of a pulp aspect to it. There's just this kind of like dark sense of humor on the way people died. I did appreciate, like, not to sound like a fucking sadist or something, but it's like movies in our era are becoming very like sort of toned down, and we're coming off the heels of like, the 2000s and the 2010s were very like gruesome and brutal. And I think like people are like talking about like disturbing imagery a lot more now. And so things are kind of like being brought down a little bit. This movie was very gory and bloody.
Very.
And so like that was kind of, frankly, like, just for the nostalgia factor, it reminded me of the weird foreign movies that I watched when I was in high school. So again, like I said, when I was 17, I would have thought this was the greatest movie I'd ever saw. It's very low dialogue. I always appreciate that as well. It kind of reminded me of Mad Max Fury Road in that regard, in that it's just very like, you don't need this constant dialogue reminding you of everything that's going on. It's just sort of the things are happening in front of you. There's not no dialogue, but it's minimal. But no, I agree. It kind of was just, it got like, not that any action movie should be totally believable, but it just started to get like really, like it just went a little too far. But I mean, I'm not upset that I watched it. Like, it was still, it's weird. It's like I'm in the middle. It's
very weird.
It's only 90 minutes long, which is nice. Every fucking modern day movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes long, so you don't lose your whole night watching it. Yep. So I think I would still recommend it. Like, if only purely for the fact that it's so dead in the center on so many things that I would want to see what other people thought about it, like which way they sort of went on the meter. I don't know, but it did some things well. I can appreciate an effort to do things in an atypical way. It just didn't really succeed in everything I think it was trying to do.
So I often, when we talk about movies, I'll pull up the Wikipedia page just so I can, while we're talking, I can, maybe it'll remind me of something I wanted to say, or it'll help me to interject some like fun fact into our conversation to make myself sound smarter. Because what is there besides self-aggrandizing?
Right.
Under the critical reception here, though, there's two quotes, and I feel like that both of the quotes put together so strongly hold like my views of the film together. And so then they're surprising, because one of them is Robert Daniels of RogerEbert.com. Said Sisu was outlandishly entertaining, mostly because, contrary to its deeper themes, it isn't afraid to be nonsensical. So while I agree with that, it is entertaining. It is nonsensical, though. And the nonsensical part in some areas is what was sort of a turnoff of me. Like I said, I don't mind it being unbelievable. Like, I don't mind being in a situation where, he's surviving like crazy odds. Maybe he he gets like stabbed in the leg and it's like devastating and he's just okay. And, it doesn't seem to affect him at all. That kind of stuff is fine. I can see how you want to see him get hurt, but not murdered. And I'm okay ignoring the fact that his carotid artery probably just got severed, something like that. But, the hanging for like a day and a half thing really, I don't know. I don't know why my brain globs to that. It's like an example of, okay, I know it's not trying to be insanely realistic, but that just feels ridiculous to me. And the other one is from Collider, who gave it a B and said, Sisu is certainly ridiculous, but sometimes it's just fun to watch an obscene amount of Nazis get what's coming to them. And goddamn, if that doesn't feel true to life. Anyway, moving on. Go see it. I'd still recommend it. I don't think it was what I expected.
Agreed.
But I think it's still kind of worth a watch. Okay, Quantumania.
I want to go first.
I want you to go first. So we're on the same page. Ready, go. Quantumania.
All right. I liked this movie more than I thought I was going to. I didn't like it per se, but I liked it. Here's the thing that blows me away. The things that I expected to like about it, I didn't like, and the things that the vice versa. I already got lost. I got pretzel knotted. Yeah, vice versa. So like the thing that I thought was going to be good was Jonathan Majors, and I fucking hated him. I don't know if it's like what's been going on with him. I thought he was trying so hard every scene. It was just like came off totally. I don't know. He just wasn't convincing to me at all. He's like, I conquered because I do. Like, okay, cool. And it's just like his scenes where he became enraged just seemed so like forced, and I just thought he was not good. The thing that I went in thinking I was going to hate, which was like the quantum realm, was actually really fucking cool. I don't know why. It was very fantastical. It
had
was
a Star Wars feel to it.
Right. It was like there was all these different weird species. There was like that glob thing, Veb, that like had these really good comedic moments. I generally hate the shoehorned in comedic moments. I thought that most of them were good in this, not all, but most. I thought that, well, save for Darren, I thought that the special effects were going to be like bad or annoying. And I actually found that a lot of these shots that they animated were very epic in scale. Like there's the part where he's multiplying into a million different Ant-Men, and same thing with the Wasp. And then they sort of grab hands and there's this like whirlpool effect where like all their different sort of possibilities merge back into the originals. It was like very fucking just epic, and on this scale that was just like, I don't know, it was just cool. Like I found myself like the world it took place in, the architecture, the even though the like color scheme of these movies is so old, like Guardians of the Galaxy did it 8 years ago, and then every fucking Marvel movie has the same like nebula in the background look. But I liked it in this. Like I don't know, I thought it looked really good. I enjoyed the sort of like mythos of how that world came to be, and the creatures that inhabited it. I thought all the tech was very, like non-generic. It seemed like it should be in that world. Like it just there was this consistency to everything. Even the stupid moving living houses, that like just shit like that. Like it was just very creative. Like it was just seemed very thought out. I thought a lot of the father-daughter moments were forced. I feel like a lot of them did this thing where like, oh shit, there was one I was like, remember this so you can use it as an example, and I can't remember what it is. But they would always do this thing where it's like the point was made and you go, oh, that's really sweet. And then it's just, they just would do another line and then another line. It's like, we get it. They're having a moment. Like we don't need to linger on it. Just move on. I weirdly, like, I still don't think it was a great movie, but it's another one of those cases of like a mediocre movie that had very good and very bad things inside of it. But ultimately, like, I put it on yesterday, and I was like thinking I'm going to watch 45 minutes of this and get bored of it. And I watched the whole fucking thing. Like it was good. And, Odin was into it. My dad's calling me. That's weird. He never calls me. I should probably take this. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll start talking about it, and we'll see how long I can go for. And if I have to stop it, I'll stop it. And because you can't answer me, that means I'm just going to say shit that you can't say back to me. One, Derek, I think that you're horribly wrong. And I'm glad that your silence means that you agree with me. That our buddy Jonathan Majors was actually quite good as Kang the Conqueror. And I'm glad that your silence is acceptance of what I've told you. So, but realistically, guys, me personally, I think that Jonathan Majors was good as Kang. I think that the parts of the film I didn't like were, and as much as I loved Michelle Pfeiffer's, if you will, I didn't like Janet's storyline. I felt like there's clearly something going on here. You know, let me hide it from my family for as long as humanly possible. It was so easy to infer what that thing was, that she had ties to Kang, that it was frustrating to see them drag it out and her not tell them and be like, I'll tell you later, we're in trouble. And then conveniently, later never comes because they're constantly running from people. And then, it gets to a boiling point. The whole thing felt very predictable in that sense. I also really didn't like the replacement actor that they got for Scott's daughter. I'm not quite sure. I think it was a chemistry thing. Derek had mentioned pieces of their conversations feeling like not connected and I really feel that I didn't. There's a lot of back and forth between those two characters that I feel like just doesn't work because I don't know, the chemistry between those two characters feels bad. And I think when the chemistry of these characters feels bad on top of it being, fairly generic dialogue, I think it just lends itself to the scenes being bad and, that being something that is not pleasant to watch. And I didn't care for the actor who played Cassie Lang a whole lot. The inclusion of her character and the arc she's gone through in the last couple years. It's not the most unbelievable to see where she's coming from, but I didn't like her a whole lot. But like I said, yeah, I liked Kang. I liked Jonathan Majors as Kang. I thought that he's, Derek said it felt like he was trying too hard, and I can definitely see where he's coming from with that. There was like one or two times when I felt like I agreed with him. That I felt like, yeah, okay, that scene felt a little weird, but genuinely, I think the scenes where he gets like angry and full of rage, I believed them, and maybe that's because we now know that he had, well, supposedly had anger and rage issues. Maybe that's why he's able to channel that stuff so well. I'm really not sure. It worked for me though in those moments. I thought that when he gets like unnervingly quiet, I feel like it works really well. And overall, I mean, the quantum realm felt cool enough. There was a lot of weird stuff. I don't think that enough of that stuff got the attention it deserved. I feel like a lot of it was just there for set dressing and sight gags, and I would have loved to spend more time with some of those weird creatures and people that were introduced. But overall, I think Ant-Man suffers from what a lot of films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe has suffered from at this point, which is that they feel like they're there to set up the next thing. And beyond that, Ant-Man's plot, the growth of his character, the growth of the central character in this film is sort of unbelievable. I don't, I feel like, in other words, I feel like the fact that they had to introduce Kang dictated what Ant-Man's arc was going to be in this film. And I don't like that. I would much rather be in a situation where the arc of Ant-Man is what the focus is, and they try to fit Kang into that organically. And I just don't feel like they did it very well, if I had to be honest with you. And that's all I got on Ant-Man. So I'm going to pause this until Derek is back in 3, 2, 1. Thanks for your silence as cooperation. I think you'll have a good time listening back.
Okay.
And I liked Kang. I'll give you the really, really short cliff notes. I liked Kang. I see where you're coming from. So with sometimes his emotion felt like faker, like he was trying too hard, but I genuinely think, and for better or worse, that like the scenes where he's supposed to be very angry, I felt that he was very angry. And I'm like, well, now that I know that he had kind of like anger issues.
Right. Yeah.
Ooh. No, overall, I felt like the film just suffers from something that a lot of MCU films have since suffered from, which is that the film just felt like the only purpose it existed for is to introduce Kang.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, I feel like Ant-Man's story suffered a little bit. I didn't like the chemistry between him and his daughter, and I think that's because of the recasting.
Yeah.
I didn't like the actor that played her.
Yeah.
I just feel like it just felt like instead of Ant-Man's character driving the story forward, MCU wrote this film and just went like, well, we have to bring Kang into it. And so how can we mold him around Kang? That's just the vibe I got. I thought the Quantum Realm was cool. I thought it was interesting for the same reasons you did. I was actually very pleasantly surprised with the way the Quantum Realm was done. I remember reading a review that said like, oh, this almost feels like it could be a Star Wars thing. So of course that's in my head.
Yeah.
And when we get in town and start, I'm like, oh, it does feel like a Star Wars, like really does feel like a Star Wars thing.
Yeah. It was well done. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about John Wick 4. That's going to rape her own up. Rap. Sorry. It came out sounding a lot too.
Whoa.
I said, I like to change the way words sound, and sometimes it backfires on me.
Here is one such example.
Here is one prime choice, USDA choice.
It's got to be the worst
example. Instead of rap, I said, I'm going to rape this up, and that does not sound good. Okay, let's clarify. Not good. Anyway, Grace is going to come up and say goodnight in a minute, so I can't wait for that. Oh my God.
Perfect
he
timing.
legitimately scared me. All right, come say goodnight, you little turd. He's got his Harry Potter scar on and his Harry Potter glasses.
It's very cool. It's all very...
And you're what?
Very authentic.
Your Diagon Alley sweatshirt.
Diagon.
My Hedwig and his spell books and his wand.
Yeah, come say goodnight here.
Sick glasses, bro.
Here. Got it? You staying?
I like your glasses, bruh.
Oh.
This one can't get in my ear because of the headphones.
Oh, here,
Yeah.
you try it again. Oh, I'm getting a cramp in my leg. Oh, I'm holding them up.
There we go. Nailed it.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Hi.
What would you like to tell the world if you could only tell them one thing? What would you say?
Vagina Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa, is that what you said?
Okay.
Very good.
All right. Very good.
Very nice. Can you say
Leviosa.
can you say Sigma D's?
Sigma D's.
Very good.
That was,
Give
that
my day.
Yeah. Say bippity boppity boo.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
All right, now say good night.
well
Good
done.
night.
You gotta
Good night,
go.
buddy.
Ow.
Oh, sorry, honey.
Love you, kiddo.
Let's fix them. I pulled off your glasses. You can have them back. You're welcome. I love you. I'll see you in a minute. You're not going to bed yet. I'll be down. Okay.
When he
Let's
said
wrap-
Wingardium, it sounded like vagina to me. I just want
I-
you to know that.
I thought the same thing. And can the episode title be Vagina Leviosa?
Leviosa? Yeah, I think so.
Thanks, Grayson. I just heard him scream. That's because I'm Harry Potter. Very good. I know you are handsome. Now go downstairs, please. Yeah, you're welcome. Love you. I'm a baby daddy. That's true. I am a baby daddy.
That is true,
Yeah.
by definition.
I'm glad that we got to come hang out and see it because he loves Uncle Derek.
Yeah, that was a good old time.
It was a good old. Okay, John Wick 4, real quick.
John Wick 4.
I kind of spoiled my opinion earlier. I really enjoyed this film. I kept hearing things like better than the last two or something, like everyone was really into it. I thought this movie was a blast. It was just a fun thrill ride. It has a fairly surprisingly long runtime for an action movie. And I was worried that would wear. And to be honest, it did a little bit towards let's say if you split the movie up into 4 parts, like the third act of it, I was like, okay, let's wrap this bad boy up. But they genuinely had a crushingly awesome amount of varied action sequences where it's like, oh, this one is bows and guns and knives, and this one is, katanas. And I had briefly mentioned like loving some shots when they're in Tokyo and, they're fighting with bows and she's like close range with a bow.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a shot where she like arrows the guy in the knee into the wall. And then Wick finishes him off with a shot to the dome, and his head cracks back, but he's still like tethered to the wall, and like that stuff makes things feel very visceral.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jesus, there's so many awesome actors in this movie. Lawrence Fishburne opening the film up. You're just like, oh right, you have this epic voice that you could literally tell me you could tell me my order at McDonald's, and I'd be like, holy shit, that sounds dope, bro. I thought this movie was just a ton of fun. I thought Donnie Yen's character was awesome. I didn't know from the advertisements that he was a blind character.
I feel like I didn't know that either. Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. Lance Reddick.
Yeah.
Who died IRL before this movie was released, and also eats it in this film. Weirdly projecting
They
his
killed
death.
him.
Yeah, prophetic.
That's how it happened.
Bill Skarsgård is really good at playing a creep in any context, and he does it again. He's really, really good at playing a creep. Yeah, this movie was just fun for me, and I gotta say, again, I know we say spoilers all the time at the beginning, and this movie's been out for a while. I didn't see them killing him. I don't think he's probably not 100% dead.
He can't be.
I'd be very surprised.
The franchise made way too much money on this one.
But the fact that they show, well, they don't show the death, but the fact that they allude to the death and they show the grave and everyone thinks he's dead and they don't show him, they resisted the urge to show his face again before the credits rolled. Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it.
All right. I'm going to get the bad stuff out of the way first. And I'm not being a contrarian. I did like it. I had a very good time with it.
Okay.
But my issue with this movie is not with this movie. It's with all the John Wick movies. And that's that you go to a John Wick movie to see an action movie. I understand that. I'm not saying like the story has to be good, but all the lore that they add into like the high table and the continental and the blah, blah, like whatever they introduced in the first one was enough. And I feel like with every subsequent movie, the more they add to it, and have these fucking scenes where it's like, I'm the curator, where I assist the executor who's was excommunicado from the Seventh Order. I mean, it's like, shut the fuck up and just shoot each other.
So you said executor, and I immediately thought of executor from the Pokemon franchise, and then you said I execute the will of the high table, and I thought execute. So now my brain is just in egg mode, and I'm ready to eat some hard boiled
all the time.
Yeah.
Them HBs.
All right, sorry.
No, it's, like if you think about, well, here's another movie with the action movie with Keanu Reeves. You go see The Matrix, and it's all about people beating each other up. Of course, it's the same thing, but like the context of like what puts those characters into those rooms where they end up fighting. If you have a good story and reasoning and drive behind it, the fight is a lot more meaningful. Like think about Matrix 1. They're hiding in the wall, and Morpheus self-sacks. He bursts through the wall. What did I do?
Nothing. Go ahead. I'm waiting for it.
And he's fighting Agent Smith. I'm not going to make the Matrix 2 joke. Don't worry. I've done it enough lately.
I was going to make it for myself. As you started talking, I was like, it's coming. I feel like it.
No, it'd be too obvious. I have to wait until you're really not expecting it. We can't already be talking about the Matrix for me to bring it up. But really, like, think about, like, there's this moment where, like, we, the viewer, know that, like, the prophecy was wrong, but Morpheus doesn't know yet. And so when he, like, bursts through the wall to, like, fight an agent, the whole movie, there's like, nobody fights agents. Like, you always just run. And in your head, you're like,
so good.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And, like, the choreography of that fight was great, but it's probably nothing compared to anything in John Wick. But you'll remember the fight between Agent Smith and Morpheus forever. And you'll forget 90% of the fights that were in John Wick 4 a year from now, because the context of what put Morpheus into that room with him is like, holy shit. Same thing when Neo's about to leave the subway station, and he decides to hang back and try to hold the agent off. You're like, wait, he's going to fight him now? Like, there's this like, holy shit aspect to. And when you're missing that in a movie, it's just like, oh, here's the next bad guy that they're throwing at John Wick for him to shoot in the face point blank 4 times. And then,
but it's cool looking.
It's cool. Look, I'm not being a fucking schneister. Like, it was a great movie. It was a very entertaining movie, very well choreographed, very stylistic. Like, they really nailed, with each subsequent movie, they get flashier and flashier. And it's like, it is amazing to see them sort of outdo themselves every time with like the action scenes, and they really like absolutely pulled it out of the park. I thought the duel thing at the end of this one was a fucking lame way to end it, but it was just so slow compared to that. Like, climb up those stairs was just like awesome and like fast paced.
Oh god, that was so sick, dude. The climb.
And
Miley Cyrus is the climb.
I liked Mr. Nobody with the dog. Like, he was a cool new character.
Now I want to recut that entire sequence with Miley Cyrus playing in the background. It's the climb, and he's just popping guys running downstairs. All right.
But besides that, all the good things I would say about it are the things you already said. It's really good. I love Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Ian McShane. Like, it's just a great cast. Everybody pulled it out for this one. Including me. I jerked off throughout the entire movie. I edged and then came right at the end. Donnie Yen, as always, incredible. Fucking just immense. I just love him. He is 59 years old, by the way. So is Keanu Reeves. So all the shit that they were doing there, 59 years old. Let me just double check that.
I'll be able to do exactly 1% of what they do at 59 years old.
Yep, 59. Donnie Yen.
That's impressive.
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu!
Also, he's 58. So, holy shit, almost 60 years old, both of them. Yeah. I don't know how much of their own stunts they did, but obviously, they're
we've seen at least
at
least the gunplay we've seen Keanu trained for pretty heavily. That's how they it's how they marketed the like 2 and 3 movies. They're like, look at the course he went through.
Yeah.
Look at this viral YouTube video.
But no, it was good. It was a really good time. I know that they're doing spin-off shit. I usually hate spin-off shit, so I'm not like totally looking forward to that. But,
same.
We'll see what happens.
So the thing with that is, and we have to go, so I'll make this very short, but the thing with the spinoff shit is, if a movie is good, usually I'm like, all right, I'll give the spinoff thing a chance. Maybe it'll expand upon the universe I like. But in John Wick, the background and the universe and the lore they add is so like second hand to me. Like, I could care less almost about most of it. Like, the first movie, you're like, oh, that's kind of a neat idea. And afterwards, you're just like, okay, let's just get back to the shooting. That with this, even though I thoroughly loved this movie, I loved all these films, with I think 2 being the weakest, but genuinely enjoying 1, 3, and 4 a lot. And even with that being said, I feel like the spinoffs are destined to be dookie. And I hope look, prove me wrong. That's my philosophy. I always want to be proven wrong. But anyway, we got to get going. This has been episode 102. Derek, sir, where can everybody find you at?
They can find me on Twitter at Dr. Gloom MD, which is DRGLOOMMD. Sustained D. It has to,
Nice.
it's like 7 Ds in a row.
Sustained D. Name of your sex tape. I haven't been streaming. I'm thinking about coming back.
Oh, he's coming.
Coming back. We'll see. Who knows? But you can find me on Twitter at Crispy Mana, CRISPYMANA, or Mana, if your name is Derek.
Are you going to do the Remedy games?
Oh, wait. When we do YouTube videos, you're always above me, so I got to go. Anyway. Am I going to do the what games?
The Remedy games. So Alan Wake and Quantum Break.
I think I am. I also want to do... I'm not what I would consider a horror streamer, and I think that's why it would work well for me, because I'm a scared little baby boy. I definitely want to go do, we've talked about it, Alien Isolation in VR.
Yeah,
I feel like
you should do that.
I feel like it'll just be funny to laugh at my pain. So that being said, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out.
See you then. Until then,
Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.